All right, welcome back to another episode of Two Plains Sports. Sorry, this one's a day late. We had some technical difficulties with the storm in Oklahoma yesterday, so we're back. Yes, today is really our overreaction Monday. So, in honor of that, we're going to be recapping probably one of the best games I've ever seen in college football and maybe one of the best Red River games ever. I don't know. I had a lot of people on Twitter calling it that. So,
It's crazy because last year we had the four overtime thriller that we thought you can't top that.
yeah.
And then
And then this happened. So, before we get into it, thank you guys as usual for hit that like button, subscribing. If you hit the notification bell, I can't tell, but if you did, you're awesome. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's down there below the video. I've got a little thing here under our faces that says don't forget to subscribe. So I'm reminding you the entire time. So no excuses here. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into it. So I'm sure all of you saw Oklahoma had a miraculous comeback. To be honest with you, after that first quarter, I thought game was over. I was glad I wasn't in Dallas because I've been there almost every year since when I was in school. So I would have hated to be walking around the
see,
bars
this is one I actually
with
feel
that.
pretty good about myself because I was with, a bunch of our college friends down for the game, and there was a little bit of doubt of panic. For some reason, the whole game, I was like, we're gonna come back and win this game. So much, in fact, that I told you about the bet I made with four. By the way, Texas fans, if you're watching this, you're garbage. Specifically for this reason. So I'm walking into the bar. I was watching the game at a bar. We were down 30-20 at halftime after obviously the worst possible start they could have imagined for Oklahoma. Just an awful start to the game. And I'm walking into the bar, and I'm obviously wearing my OU shirt. And there's a table of four Texas fans that I have to walk by on my way in. And I have no problem with, they're up 38-20. They're feeling themselves. Oklahoma sucks. We're whooping your ass, all this. And that's fine. That's what you expect at OU Texas weekend. However, here's the problem, Texas fans. So I walk up to all four of them after they had their little, shit talk moment. And I said, Oklahoma's going to win this game. I bet each one of you a drink. And they gladly took it, up 18 at halftime, feeling really good about themselves. Obviously, Oklahoma storms all the way back, wins the game. I go out to the table to find them. They left.
Classic. Yeah. I mean,
Garbage.
what else can you say about Texas fans sometimes? They're the worst losers of all time. And they should be used to it at this point. I don't think they've won anything significant. Well, I guess they won a bowl game with Ellinger, but couldn't win the Big 12. So I think for this game, I know typically we go back and forth between offense and defense, but the biggest storyline was obviously Caleb Williams coming in for Spencer Rattler. So let's go quarter by quarter because I think this game was very different between both quarterbacks. It seemed like a very different team. So let's just start with the first quarter. Texas went up 28-7 at the end of
Well,
the
let's start
first
with the
quarter.
first play of the game. The first play from scrimmage. They threw
Yeah, we
that
can
little
start there.
bubble screen, and the dude houses it. And it's just like, oh, man, this
I
could be
think
tough. And then our next possession, we go 3 and out. And not only do we go 3 and out, but we have the punt blocked, and they recover at the 1 yard line. So, I mean, less than 3 minutes in the game, I think, real time off the clock, Oklahoma's down 14-0.
yeah, no, it was very fast. It was with less than 2 minutes of game time they had scored. So the first touchdown they scored in 14 seconds, and their second touchdown they scored in 9 seconds. So, I mean, they got up fast, and then our first score didn't come. It came on our second possession. It was a touchdown pass to. Let me see
No, it
here.
wasn't. It was a Spencer Rattler
Oh,
run.
Spencer Rattler run. Yeah, you're right. So it was a
Because
Spencer Rattler touchdown.
what was big about that drive, if going back on it, obviously we
Started
had a
to run
score
the
there.
ball a little bit.
Yeah, but you don't want to start off, 14-0 down punting, especially with the way that Texas offense is rolling to start off the game. But no, specifically, it was big about that. Do you remember the third down play where Spencer Rattler hit Mike Woods on a great catch by Mike Woods, but by the way, that catch should not have counted. That
Yeah.
being said, I obviously take it because, that's textbook ineligible touching. Mike Woods ran out of bounds, came back in, caught it, and they missed it. And obviously we'll take that because obviously that ended up leading to a Oklahoma touchdown, which ended up being big because it just took some momentum away, put us back in the game. It was big.
Yeah, and then the rest of the first quarter was all Texas. I mean, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. They yeah, I mean, every possession they had except for one, they scored a touchdown, and that was their third possession where
they were hitting those deep. They had one. I know to go up 28-7. There was just, I think it was a blown cover or something, because that dude was wide open, and
yeah, all the safeties all went to one side of the field, and I can't remember.
Sean McCutcheon was in coverage, but he looked like he didn't know if he was supposed to be in man or if it was like zone help over the top, because I mean that dude just ran uncontested.
Yeah. It was not a good first quarter for the defense, but I mean, to put it in perspective as well, like it was a crazy play in their first play of the game, right? Whatever. And then their second touchdown came with amazing field position. When
you block
2 yards
instead of at the 1 yard line or 2 yard line, yeah, it's pretty efficient.
Pretty hard. Like if they would have stopped that, like it would have been amazing, but it seemed almost inevitable that it was going to be a touchdown when you're in that position, especially with the momentum so early in the game. So I think it's fair to say terrible first quarter for both sides of the ball for Oklahoma. Not ideal.
27 at the end of the first, right?
Yeah, 28-7 to end the first, and then second quarter comes around, and this one is kind of a tale of two halves within a quarter, because first half of the second quarter was still Spencer Rattler. When we ended up scoring 13 to 10.
Touchdown play.
Right, which I was going to get to. So, I mean, Spencer Rattler was a quarterback for most of the second quarter, except for the big run from Caleb Williams. And it seemed like, I mean, so we took a timeout before that big run.
By the way, that was an incredible play, because if you go back and look at it, he should have been stopped in the backfield. He was met in the backfield and kind of like sidestepped somebody. But like Lincoln said, I was watching his post-game press conference today. When you load the box like that up front, and then you obviously showed it's 4th and 1, and Caleb Williams in the game, you're probably expecting a quarterback run. And they had it right. They had it played perfectly, actually. Caleb Williams should have been stopped in the backfield, sidestepped somebody, but once he sidestepped that guy and got the first down, there was nothing except, just don't run out of gas like you did against Western Carolina. Just don't run out of gas, and you're going to house that. And this time he didn't. And that was a huge play.
Yeah. And that, I feel like that kind of turned around the momentum a little bit, where we were back in the game, and it really, I think it did help Spencer.
It did. It's a good point to your tale of 2 halves and a quarter, because after that touchdown run makes it 28-14, I believe that next possession for Texas, if I have it correctly, they went 3 and out. I know for a fact they didn't score. They ended up punting. I just don't remember if it was a 3 and out or not, but they ended up punting.
Let me double check.
And then
so they did end up punting on the next possession.
Yeah,
and then we ran that negative
trick play. We ran that little screen pass to Mims, and he was running around in the backfield for a second, tossed it back to Rattler, and then Rattler hit Jeremiah Hall on that sideline for a huge gain. Drive ended up stalling, obviously makes it 28-17. But that's when the momentum was us, and then it shifted right back to Texas, because I think they scored on that next drive to go back 18 up.
So they didn't quite yet. So after that, they punted on their next possession and 4 plays.
And the Spencer fumble.
And then the Spencer fumble on an almost identical play from last year's Red River game. It was tough to watch. I mean, that, not just Caleb having his big run, but that mistake seemed to be the line.
He said it came down. He said it came down to turnovers. You can't turn the ball over. Although the first one, I think, was a true miscommunication on the interception, because if you watch the replay, Stogner broke out. Spencer threw it in the middle of the field, and they cut to Spencer Rattler because they just do a pick. That's what they do. And he was visibly frustrated. Like, I think him and Stogner didn't communicate well in that play, because he definitely thought he was sitting right there.
Yeah, for sure. And the color, I don't know how well you could hear the color commentary in the bar, but that's exactly what they said. They said it's very apparent that Spencer was expecting him to sit or cut in, and Stogner went out, and it was just a miscommunication. Not so. I guess you could still
said that. I think Link said he didn't really put it on. He said that was a mental break, or like a mental error, or just miscommunication somewhere along the, I don't know, if it's play calling, who had it wrong. I mean, obviously the play was dialed up by Lincoln, and either Spencer or Stogner had it awful. Yeah,
someone messed up. So still on Spencer in the record in the stat book, but
But if it
I
was
get
Stogner's mess up, then that pick
then
really
we
shouldn't.
exactly. But you have those kind of interceptions all the time where it hits them in the hands and they just can't secure it, and there's a safety or someone behind them that takes it. So unfortunate, but it happened. And then his fumble was just kind of the nail
It
in the
was
coffin for
careless, to be
his.
honest. I mean, it was
And he could have just he either should have just kept it safe, but it was obviously he was just trying to do what he always does when it comes to his turnovers, and he was trying to force something. This time it just happened to be on a run on an option play where he got strip sacked or
and it
stripped.
was it was costly because then obviously Texas, they were set up in a short field, and that's when Bijan busted that ridiculous run where
Yes.
I thought he was going to house it. He looked, and I hate to say this, and it's not the same because he didn't score, but it was CD Lamb esque in the same game where he was.
That's what I
There's
thought.
defenders all around him, and he's making everybody miss. But
He
he
made
didn't score, so he's not as good as CD.
he had 8 missed tackles on that one run, and you compared him CD again, and the commentators compared him as soon as he broke out and he made those first three guys miss. They said that's Reggie Bush in 2021 right there, and I mean they weren't wrong. That run was amazing, and but outside of that run, I think our defense held pretty well against him. Um, we can go to the
you
stat
go
line
quarter
in a
by
second,
quarter,
but
this is fun. No, because yeah, at this point he's having a great game. They're 35-17. That next possession for Oklahoma, I believe we get a field goal.
yeah, we
And
get
that
a field
was
goal, and
and
then
that
they
was
they
that
end
was
the half
the
with a field goal of their own.
I want to say that was the one throw in the entire game that I can point to was on that field goal drive that made it 35-20. I believe it was this drive. I'm just using all my memory here from the game watching it. I believe that was the drive where Caleb missed Jaden Hazelwood on a corner route in the end zone.
Yes, it was,
And
and that was Caleb's first drive as the quarterback at that point.
And that's the only throw he missed all game. I mean, if you think that's the only throw, I think you can go back on and be like, dang, he just missed that one, because it seemed like after that he just locked in.
And honestly, I wouldn't put that specific play so much on Caleb. I think if we think back earlier in the season, it reminded me a lot of the pass from Spencer to Mario Williams, also the corner of the end zone, front corner of the end zone, back shoulder kind of situation. And both receivers they had it in their hands. They just missed. They didn't expect the ball to come in.
Touch the ball, I don't think. If I'm thinking of the right play, he did.
He did touch it, but it was just barely out of reach. I think it's Spencer not knowing, or not Spencer, I'm sorry, Caleb. First drive, maybe some jitters came into play, but it was, I mean, a great drive. Think about the situation he was put in. He didn't expect to play. It's his first game ever playing, really, like significant time, and such a big game. I think outside of the Big 12 championship, this is usually the biggest game of the Sooner season. So he did a great job. And then the commentators mentioned, if people don't know already, this guy has been away from football for quite a while. He did not get to play his senior season of high school ball, and then he just came in. Obviously, he did it the spring training, but he hasn't played since 2019
he's
or early 2020.
I mean, he's good. We're so fortunate to have that guy as other backup, but we'll go into that later on. But
I think
go ahead.
Let's stop real quick before we go into the second half. I think this is a good stopping point because we all know what's going to happen in the second half, but a lot of people at this point were still assuming that Spencer was going to get put back into the game. But to be honest, it seemed like it would have been a disservice, not just to the team, but to Caleb. Like that drive he had was great. There wasn't any mistake. Like there wasn't any ball or any situation where you're like, wow, this was like a glaring mistake from inexperience or just time away from the game. Like the dude knew what he was doing. He looked comfortable playing football.
Yeah, no, he was big time. And then that third quarter started. I believe it was our ball. It was because they housed their first play, field goal drive, right?
So no, we punted on our first possession in the third quarter. They punted on their first possession in the third quarter, and then field goal for Oklahoma, 9-play field goal drive. And no, it wasn't quite yet. We hadn't thrown in that trick play that ended us winning the game. So when punt, field goal, and then our first touchdown came on
late third.
And it's middle third, late third. the touchdown pass ended up going to Marvin Mims.
Mims.
It was the one
That
where he was in the back in the end zone
yeah.
uncovered.
And by the way, that play from Caleb Williams in itself, that was 3rd and 11. All right. So some of the biggest plays he made were on 3rd down, and they all went to Marvin Mims. So on that 3rd and 11 touchdown, he got the snap, and at first I thought it was a bad snap just watching it live because I just saw the ball on the ground. I was like, holy shit. But then it was a great snap. He just dropped it for whatever reason. But I think it was so impressive as a freshman who hasn't played in a year, whatever. The dude just calmly picked the ball up, rolled out to the side, threw a strike to Marvin Mims. And if you watch the replay, he borderline turned around before Mims even caught it and started unbuckling his chin strap and like getting, fired up. And I was like, dude, that kid is ridiculous. Like that was ballsy.
Yeah. And his play kind of reminds me a little bit of a mix of Kyler and Jalen because he can move so well, but he's such a big body similar to Jalen Hurts. So it'll be interesting to see how the offense is now.
He throws more like Kyler. I think he has Kyler arm talent, but he doesn't have Kyler speed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the perfect blend. You get the big body and running ability of Jalen Hurts, but the arm and throwing ability of Kyler Murray. So, but before we get into like what we think is going to happen in the next and for the rest of the season, let's finish the game. So Oklahoma scores a touchdown. We cut it 41-30. Next possession for Texas, punt. 3 and out. Next possession for Oklahoma, field goal. Next possession for Texas, 3 and out again. So our defense had a terrible first half.
That's the thing we can talk about the defense.
A lot here.
You give up 38 in the first half. You give up 10 in the second half. But as we talked about in our preview, again, contain Bijan Robinson, Oklahoma wins this game. That's what we said a million times. I don't know what Bijan had, but Texas as a team had 27 rush yards in the second half.
Yeah, probably Bijan was probably most of them.
27 though. That's for the whole team in the second half. That was huge. So then 41-33. Then we get another stop, obviously, because we end up tying it. So is it another 3 and out?
So so it's 41-33. They get another 3 and out, or their second 3 and out, and then touchdown Oklahoma to tie the game at 41.
And hold on, can we talk about that play just for a second?
That's a first big bomb where it was BJ Foster, right? And Marvin Mims.
Not on that drive, he hit 2. It was 3rd and 5, and he threw up that he threw a long one to Marvin Mims. It was kind of one-on-one, just jump ball type thing. Marvin Mims dunked on him, huge first down. But then on the touchdown specifically, there's 7:33 to go. And I'll remember this for the rest of my life. There was 7:33 on the clock. 3rd and 19. And obviously our defense was playing well because we forced, 3 punts or whatever. But 3rd and 19. So obviously if we don't get that, or if we don't get close to like 4th and 1, 4th and 2 range, we have to punt the ball with 7.5 to go and have to ask our defense for another huge stop. On 3rd and 19, he rolls up and throws a perfect deep pass. That was a perfect pass, perfect catch. That play was ridiculous. That Marvin Mims touchdown that made it 41-39. That's the best play I've seen from an Oklahoma offense in a long time. That play was perfect. The situation, everything. And sitting in the bar with our college buds, that's the moment where I looked back to them and I was like, Spencer Rattler's never playing again for Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was. And that
was the play. I was like, it's over. And then granted, he played the very next play on the 2-point conversion, but you know what I mean?
But I think I agree with you 100%. Like, not just his play and what he was able to do to bring this team back to even tie the game at this point, but the entire team seemed to have a different edge to them. Like, do you remember watching the game and thinking this offensive line is letting Caleb die out there? Like, no.
And I don't know if that's just him being more mobile in the backfield and obviously he can maneuver around and make shit happen, but no, dude, it was a totally different offense. And Lincoln says in his post game, and this could just be him sticking out for Spencer at the end of the day is this guy. I mean, he's got to love him. And he was like, I always expected to bring Spencer Rattler back, but I didn't expect to bring Spencer Rattler back on the biggest play of the game and have him deliver. There's 2 things. Spencer Rattler did deliver on the 2-point conversion. No doubt about it. He made a great throw, rolled out, hit Drake Stoops. Perfect. Awesome execution. Big play, no doubt. It tied the game at 41. But you don't even get a chance to make that play if Caleb Williams doesn't do something freaking heroic on 3rd and 19.
Yeah, it was.
That was the play of the game for me, was on 3rd and 19.
I mean, his mobility does help a lot because there were a couple times where a linebacker or an edge did come free and to almost get a hit on Caleb, but the dude looked so comfortable in the pocket that he made them miss. Like I don't know. It was different. I'm sure we all
I'm sure
agree
you've
there.
seen like all the stuff on Twitter of Marvin Mims where his foot is literally in bounds by a freaking centimeter. That was awesome. Great play. And then going further on into the game, this is where I thought we'd pull away, specifically because I was feeling myself obviously, but I mean I had a couple drinks, but there was one table of OU fans behind us. The rest of it pretty much Texas, and the Texas crowd was pretty quiet at this point. Obviously, when you just blew a 21-point lead, it's tie game now. I walked up to the table behind us, and I go, Oklahoma's getting a turnover possession. It's gonna happen. And then Caleb Kelly strips the ball, and I am just like, I did this.
I didn't get to see it, unfortunately, because I watched it on Sling TV and they sold me. It just went on an infinite commercial break where it didn't tune back in until we scored the touchdown. Like I watched them run it in or get it in the end zone. So unfortunate, but I mean, as soon as the commercial went a little long, I went on Twitter and everyone's like, Caleb Kelly, Caleb, doing Caleb things. And I was like, holy shit, what just happened? But it was awesome. I'm glad it happened.
He ran over, he essentially just ran to the guy and just took the ball from him.
Yeah, and I saw the replay.
It was like, that's all he did. He was like, I'm going to take this now. And then Kennedy Brooks, who we're not talking about nearly actually at all yet, outplayed Bijan Robinson, number one. We can talk about him after the game, but that's when Kennedy Brooks got that first direct snap touchdown. And by the way, Drake Stoops on that play.
Great.
I mean, that's about as perfect as you can do that.
He looked like, great slot receivers like a Wes Welker, like Julian Edelman. He looked like
he's down there. There was one DB who could have made a play, and Drake Stoops made sure that DB was not going to make the play. And like I said, that put us at 48-41. Momentum's all the way on our side. I was like, this is where it's over. Like, we're going to pull away now. We're going to get another stop. It's over. And in Red River fashion, that's never how it happens. And the defense gave their only touchdown of the second half. And you hate to see it in a moment like that where, I mean, one stop wins you the game. And it's Red River. I mean, it happens. Casey Thompson threw a great ball on that crossing route deep in the end zone. Touchdown. Texas Bar losing their mind. I'm not saying that we wouldn't be in the same situation had Oklahoma done that. But at the same time, as an OU fan, with the way our offense is moving, you look down at the clock and there's a minute 23 to go.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking. Plenty of time. And then Kennedy Brooks did Kennedy Brooks things that entire drive.
Well, here's the thing. That Texas, or on the last two touchdowns for Oklahoma, that Texas defense got burned by the exact same play, just in different field situations. Yeah, where it was a fake shovel pass to Caleb. And the edge bit on it every time. They really thought Caleb was going to get the ball. They're just big holes for Caleb on the left side.
I am excited to see when we actually do hit that, though. I want to see what the product of that's going to be, because eventually Kennedy Brooks is going to toss it to Caleb Williams, and he's going to be run and pass eligible. So that could be a good wrinkle, and that we will see eventually. But go ahead.
Remind me if I'm wrong, but that's the first time we've seen that play at all this season. Yeah. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that play in an Oklahoma offense.
It was a vintage Lincoln Riley game in the biggest game of the season. That's another theme we've had all season for this team is, it hasn't always been pretty. It hasn't always been good. But defense against Nebraska, offense against West Virginia, offense against Texas this week. I mean, every single time this season that we've needed it, they've delivered.
And I mean, we're pretty much down to the end of the game, but we got the ball back with time left. And to be honest, I saw we had two timeouts. I got frustrated that it took Lincoln till we got down. I think it was to 10 seconds.
I was watching the game. There was 10 seconds left.
Yelling at the TV
when Kennedy Brooks had the ball and there was 10 seconds left, he got the first down. I was screaming, "Get down!" Like, get down, because I can't see the field obviously at Kennedy, because the camera's got Kennedy Brooks only, and I'm just like, dude, get down. Like, I thought we were doing whole school clock management, to be honest with you.
I did too.
We were going to go straight to overtime on some dumb stuff. But obviously Kennedy Brooks saw the field and saw, like, I'm going to house this. And lost my mind.
Yeah, I was the exact same way when, obviously the touchdown play, I was like, I I was thinking, okay, we're gonna run the ball just to put Gabe in a better situation. Maybe he likes the ball centered, maybe he likes it on the right side. But no, I mean, like you said, it not only was it an amazing play, but it was eerily similar situation to like Minneapolis Miracle where you're watching the TV. I don't know if anyone watching this saw the Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs a few years back, but you're watching it on TV. You see your guy with the ball. He makes a play to, in this situation to run the ball and get a few more yards. We as fans are thinking, like you said, just get down, call the timeout so that Gabe can come in and kick the game winning field goal. And obviously they see something very different. Wide open field in front of them for an amazing play.
As soon as you watch the replay, Kennedy Brooks absolutely made the right decision. Like that play was so well blocked. And again, Drake Stoops is at the front and center of it down the field. Like that dude's a football player, man. I love Drake Stoops.
Him and Hazelwood showed that they're not just pass catchers. They're going to sell out for their team to make sure that their priority is to win, not to look good while winning.
Yeah, no, it was Drake Stoops specifically. I can't say enough good things about on both those touchdown runs where he's just doesn't care. Like he's just out there trying to make a play. He made the 2-point conversion catch. He's a football player. He's good when he seems to always deliver.
Yeah.
Whether it be catching, running, blocking, even just running decoy, running 55 times in the backfield motions. He just does whatever he's asked to do, and at high level, he's awesome.
And I think it's fair to say that he made not just Oklahoma legend, but his dad, Bob Stoops, a very proud guy that day. He's just smacking the table and just celebrating.
That was awesome. That was so.
But I'm sure probably one of the things Coach saw when he was watching the play was, I mean, obviously he saw the touchdown happen, but he was thinking like, my son just made a pivotal block in the situation to win.
Oh, hell yeah.
One of the most important games of the season, where we're watching it on a replay. For most of us are seeing it on a replay because we're focused on either screaming at the TV because he should have been down or celebrating and thinking, holy shit, we just won on a
it went very quickly from screaming it down to holy shit, what just happened? Like, this is awesome. This is unreal. That was awesome. Like we mentioned at the top, probably the best Red River game ever. I'm excited to see how next year's possibly going to top it because I never thought the 4 overtime throw would be topped. So obviously that's probably not the best Red River we'll ever see somehow. But that for right now, that's without a doubt, in my opinion.
100%. And I think so. Well, we're done with the game. Obviously, amazing game for Oklahoma. But let's go into some of the stories that kind of came out and some of the thoughts we had, right? You mentioned it a little bit ago. Caleb Williams was amazing, but the real star of this game and the star of this offense, like you and I have been saying over the last 3 weeks, was Kennedy Brooks.
Did you see what he averaged for the game?
No, but I know he had over 200. Yeah, over 200 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns.
177 after contact.
Yeah, the dude was amazing. We've been saying it all season. Give him a chance, and he will help establish this offense to being what we're
as a team. We rushed for over 8.5 yards a carry, I think, but obviously. Hold on, I'll pull it up real quick. But obviously, most of that is Kennedy Brooks. Kennedy Brooks, I know for a fact, averaged 8.3, which is stupid. And then as a team, we averaged 8.3, which is Kennedy Brooks averaged 8.7. As a team, it was 8.3. Caleb Williams had 88 on the ground. Eric Gray 6 for 37 for 6.5 yards a carry. So like another thing you mentioned, Eric Gray is not somebody who we need to kick out of the offense altogether because he is getting 6 yards a carry. He's a good change of pace guy. But yeah, as a team, 41 carries, 339 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. That's the offense we're used to seeing.
And Kennedy was the star of the offense, and I would expect him to continue. I wouldn't say that he's going to have these games every week, but he's going to have big games and make big plays for this offense for the rest of the season.
If Caleb Williams, because obviously I think we're both in consensus here, and I'm a huge Spencer Rattler guy. I'm still a huge Spencer Rattler guy. If Caleb Williams plays that way the rest of the season, because there's no doubt he's the guy now, I think we both think. If he plays like that the rest of the season, because granted it was one game, but God, I hope he I hope he keeps that up. Because if he does, I think we're going to see the offense that we talked about all summer, all preseason. Like this offense is going to be scary. It's good. I think it's like you mentioned, man. It's like it just had a whole different vibe, mojo to the game when he was under center.
Yeah,
Or
and
in the shotgun, whatever.
outside of the gameplay, this is just like post game stories, and I want to hear what you think because I saw a lot of people on Twitter. I mean, I got some things sent to me from Reddit. Like, yes, Spencer obviously got outplayed on Saturday by Caleb Williams, and the offense looked much better. Obviously, we scored a lot more points than we probably could have expected with Spencer as QB1. But people were trashing this guy as if he was just terrible. I think maybe, I mean, we all, some of us may have seen like the QB1 clips from when he was back in high school, and we can't speak to if he has matured or how much he's matured since being at OU or in the situation he was put in on Saturday. Like, imagine just being at your job, that your replacement is already there, and halfway through the workday, your boss says, "Hey, get off the computer because your replacement's coming in to do your job and do it better."
I think the same thing. Like, I was talking to Brace, our college bud here. We were talking because obviously Spencer was great last year, and he came into the season as a Heisman candidate because he was so good last year, and like we're all expecting him to take that leap. I think he's in his head a little bit because he knows. Obviously, he practices every day with Caleb Williams on the roster. He sees how special Caleb Williams is, how talented he is. I think he's trying so hard to not fuck up to where he is.
Yeah,
fucking up. You know what I mean? He's trying so hard to not screw up that he is screwing up. He's in his. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's just letting it loose and slinging it like he was last year. Because
I think it's possible because I mean, once the second half started for this game, like there was no expectation of Spencer coming back at all.
Which is why now he can't come back, because if he was in his head earlier, like I thought, there's no doubt he's in his head now.
Yeah, and I think
what Caleb Williams just did at OU Texas, which every OU fan on the planet's watching. If he does start against TCU on Saturday, first of all, I think Oklahoma fans are going to boo him at home again, which is going to be that's stupid. That's not going to help him out at all. That's not going to help him at all, with anything. But I think at this point, after what Caleb just did, that's all he's going to be thinking about all week. It's like, man, if I go out there and if I even throw an incomplete pass, like they're going to be calling for my head. They're going to be getting, me, Caleb, all this stuff. And at this point, it's too far gone. I think Link has to make that what's going to be for him an incredibly tough conversation to be like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, it's not how I planned on this working out for us. But unfortunately, Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams right now.
Yeah, and then you said it yourself, like, this is going to be a tough situation for not just Spencer, but for Lincoln. For Spencer, if he is replaced by Caleb for the rest of the season, one, I don't think it's a question on if he'll transfer. It'll be on when he will transfer. Yeah, if he sticks around like Jalen Hurts did with Alabama, and obviously the situations, college football is in a much different world than the time when Jalen got replaced by Tua. But if he sticks around for the rest of the season, not only will it help settle his draft stock to not plummet, but it'll speak a lot to his character and how much it has improved, because I'm sure a lot of coaches are looking, coaches in college football right now are probably wondering, they know this guy's probably going to transfer if Caleb comes in to replace him. So now they just want to know, is he the kind of guy I want in my locker room? And if he transfers sometime this week before the TCU game, sometime during the season, I don't think it's going to help his situation.
I doubt he'll transfer mid-season or during the season. I think he'll at least finish the season.
And that's the tricky part for Lincoln, right? Now he's got to manage not just the expectations that are the fans, the people that, have a hold of his job. He's got to please so many people, but he's also, his priority should probably be like, I have to handle the situation with my players right first. And then I'll address it with the media and the fans and, Joe Castiglione and everyone associated with OU athletics. Because if he just comes in and just ignores it or doesn't handle the situation right with Spencer and Caleb, then Spencer's gonna be frustrated and pissed. Who knows? Like, if he's so frustrated, he does something stupid, right?
Yeah.
then it'll look bad on both him and Lincoln.
I think Lincoln will keep him. I mean, I don't think Spencer Rattler's gonna do anything stupid as far as like off-field issues or anything stupid like that. Because I think at the end of the day, I still think he's very talented. I think I people are talking like, oh, Spencer Rattler just screwed up his whole future. A lot of that takes relax. All right, relax. Even if he never plays another down at Oklahoma, his future is not screwed. And secondly, if Caleb Williams does become the guy, and Spencer's still on the team as the backup quarterback, he needs to have that Jalen Hurts mentality of, if Caleb starts playing poorly or gets hurt or something, and he has to come and Spencer's once again the guy, he needs to dial it in and be like, all right, it's my chance again. I need to play like I did last year, and then he needs to be careful here, but stay ready, because I mean, you never know in college football. Like you never know.
You never know in football in general. Like,
yeah,
we don't want injuries to happen, but they happen, and him leaving would be a detriment to the team, and I believe to his image, his likelihood to be in
he already
an
hurt
amazing...
his image a little bit Saturday when he and I where I don't like that he wasn't on the field to celebrate or all that stuff. I think it's being slightly blown out of proportion by all these fans who are like, oh, what a selfish guy, what a horrible person for not sticking out. First of all, I don't like it that he didn't stick out there. I will say that.
Agreed.
However, imagine being in this kid's position where he just got benched. Obviously he's not happy. He's not having a good time out there. I think, and he's a 19-year-old kid. I think a little bit of immaturity showed as a 19-year-old, just being frustrated. I don't think he was pissed that OU won or anything like people are just like, no, I think he was just literally frustrated and wanted to go, screw off in the locker room and just maybe collect his thought. He could have broke down in the locker room. You never know what, he probably went in the locker room and called his dad or something. Like that had to be an awful moment for him, an awful Saturday, and people need to get off his back just a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And granted, I didn't like it either, but he's 19 years old and he just had a really bad day on live television with everybody watching it. There's a million people right now tweeting how much he sucks, all this stuff. And he's fully aware of all this. Like
I'm with
off
you.
His back a little bit on that.
I'm with you 100%. Like, you and I have been on here and we've defended Spencer for the play on the football field. We've always said, like, yes, he makes mistakes, but the team around him wasn't helping him either. Like, there was a lot of situations that, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out for him so far this season. But those same fans that were with us, saying like it's more than Spencer, the problem for Oklahoma's offense, are the same people that are doing what you're saying.
Do you follow Gabe Ikard on Twitter by any chance?
I do. I haven't seen anything.
People are tweeting at him about, like, I've been saying it since day one. Spencer's not that dude. And Gabe Ikard tweets these guys and be like, I bet you if we dug deep in your Twitter history, this would prove to be incorrect. And there was one guy specifically who said that, and he tweeted that. You can look it up. There's a thread where the guy tweeted him. I think his name was Caleb something, but he tweeted at Gabe Ikard and said, I always knew Spencer wasn't the guy. And Twitter receipts never lie. Like, this Caleb guy who tweeted at Gabe Ikard had like 8 tweets last year, 10 tweets, even going back to when Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback. Like, can we please put Rattler in? Rattler's the truth. Rattler's going to do this and this. And then when Rattler's playing really well last year, he's like, this is what OU's needed forever. And so, like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, you're an idiot. Like, I hate those fans. Yeah. I was on this in the summer. I was the biggest Spencer Rattler guy of all time, talking about I was going to win the Heisman, do with it, number one pick, all this stuff. Obviously, that's not panning out right now. But at the same time, if his number is called, I still think he can be that guy.
And those fans are the same fans that were, scrutinizing the student section, and those fans that were screaming, we want Caleb. And yes, it was wrong, but it's just as wrong for you to get on this guy for being put and for him, a really crappy situation on national TV, biggest game for not just your school, but probably one of the biggest games of the day, especially at that point on a Saturday. Like, this dude was put in a situation where I don't think any of us would probably react differently, and those who would have reacted
how many times
in a positive manner, you're a much better person.
Just a shit day at school or work, whatever, and you come home and, like, we're all trying to hang out in college or whatever. You just had a shit day, whatever. You just awful day. You just kind of like you just piss off to your room. You know what I mean? It happens. I literally think he just, and granted it's a team sport, he should be. I still think he should have been out there celebrating, but at the same time, I can relate to just having an awful moment, but not like that, not on live TV with a million people tweeting about how shitty I am now. Like,
Yeah,
we need to give
like
the kid a little bit of a break here.
easy. Let's see how Saturday against TCU works out, and if he still has that same mentality and is being kind of laid back and not
what bugs
caring,
me so much is
then
as OU fans at quarterback, we have been so spoiled by Baker and Kyler and Jalen's greatness that, if Caleb Williams has a bad game, they're gonna start yelling for Spencer to come. Like, just relax and let Lincoln make the decision. And your only job as a fan is to freaking support who's out there at quarterback. That's literally it's that simple. And
yep.
I understand like other teams tweeting about how bad Spencer is, whatever. That's fine. Like, you're not an OU fan. You can talk all you want. But OU fans specifically dogging him on Twitter, in the stadium, whatever. You're an idiot.
And I mean, I'm just big on like, let's not judge someone's personality. We don't know him personally. Like, if you know Spencer personally and you want to come out and say those things about him, go for it, dude, because that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But most of us, 99% of us that are, of the people that are saying that he sucks now and he's a terrible person because of what he did on Saturday and walking out and not celebrating, we don't know him. Like,
and not
let's
only
just back
that,
off.
He's light years better than everybody who tweets that he sucks.
Right. So, like, and that's just a different topic. Let's just let the guy be. Like, we defended him on this show when he was the starting quarterback, and we're going to defend him now because it's not right that people are on his back about being a terrible person when he was just put in a bad situation. So, but hopefully going forward that changes, and maybe he's got a little bit better attitude on the sideline. And like you said, hopefully he's staying ready to get put in the game if something happens where he does need to get put in, maybe for like a 2-point conversion like he was for Saturday. Who knows? Like, Lincoln comes up with things all the time. So he might not be completely out of the offense.
We'll see him again. I just don't, we just don't know what capacity that'll be. But there's no doubt he'll play again this season.
Yeah, and well, I have a little bit of it out, but he'll definitely play again.
I'm not saying like he's going to start and stuff, but he's going to get, maybe, these 2-point conversion or these gadget players,
Yeah, I think so. That is definitely possible, and I don't think his career is over by any means. So
and why not, like, there's got to be some sort of formation we can have Lincoln or Caleb and Spencer on the field at the same time. Maybe trick pass, get back to Spencer, wide open dude downfield.
Yeah, it would be like there's so much opportunity here with both of those guys. They're both so talented. Like, let's see what happens. You're right. Lincoln's going to draw something up, hopefully, for both of them. Who knows if he'll implement it at some point in the game? But
what I will say, what I don't hope to see is when teams do like the switch out every drive at quarterback. Or,
let's not do that.
2 drives Caleb, 1 drive Spence. No, that just screws off momentum and mojo for neither guy can get in a groove. Whether it's Spencer or Caleb, I think we both think it's Caleb. Pick one, stick with it.
Yeah, and I think, the last thing I'll say about this is Spencer, maybe after the season he's done as a Sooner, but he'll have probably a pretty good career wherever he is next. If it's not the NFL, and whatever university he goes to is going to be fortunate to have him. And, best of luck to him. I think hopefully he sticks around, maybe as a backup next year. Who knows what the situation is going to be, but let's just back off the guy for
next football season. We'll see what happens there.
Let's just back off the guy for now and move on with the season and root for Caleb and hope that we go as far as we want to, which is a national championship.
Overall, great Red River weekend though.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm going to say it again, probably the best game I've ever seen in college football.
Yeah.
And it's because I am a Sooner fan. I'm sure there's been other amazing games in college football that people can think of, but you're not going to convince me otherwise right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally awesome game.
Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up for this video?
No, let's keep clicking on offense and let's keep playing that second half defense. And that's the team. That's the team that's going to win it.
Let's do it. Well, if you've made it this far, you're awesome. First thing you should do, go to the comment section. Tell us what you thought of the game. Is it the best game you've ever seen? Best Red River you've ever seen? Maybe give us some thoughts on the Caleb Spencer situation if you'd like to.
I love hearing from the Spencer haters because I think I think it's dumb, but I'd like to see what they, how you validate it.
Throw it in there. We'll try to reply. We've been kind of bad with it. We've got busy lives, but we'll try. Throw in your comments. Hopefully you guys have conversations with each other. It's always fun to see them anyways, but thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. video's over, so it's real quick before you close this out. Get it done now. All right, cool. Glad you did that, and we'll see you next time.